Fox political and legal analyst Ebony Williams, radio talk show host Meghan McCain, and today's hashtag one lucky guy. You know him from the O'Reilly Factor. Host of Watters World, Jesse Watters. He's outnumbered. Wow.
Wow.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah. See you too.
Loving it. Okay, we have a lot to get to. So we've got a couple of attorneys on the couch.
Yes, we do.
So
we're well represented.
Lockstep.
Yes.
I'm not an attorney.
No, but you're super
Everybody
smart.
knows that.
But you need one. You need a couple.
At least one.
You need two,
Especially in that suit.
There's more to that story that I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. Donald Trump says he will restore law and order in America in the aftermath of violence plaguing Milwaukee. He gave a speech in a nearby suburb, largely sticking to script, emphasizing the importance of supporting police, and he reached out to black voters. Watch.
The war on our police must end, and it must end now. The war on police is a war on all peaceful citizens who want to be able to work and live and send their kids to school in safety. Our job is not to make life more comfortable for the rioter or the robber or the looter or the violent disruptor, of which there are many. Our job is to make life more comfortable for the African-American parent who wants their kids to be able to safely walk the streets.
Trump aimed some fire as well at rival Hillary Clinton.
Hillary would rather protect the offender than the victim. She is against the police, believe me. Hillary Clinton-backed policies are responsible for the problems in the inner cities today, and a vote for her is a vote for another generation of poverty, high crime, and lost opportunities. We reject the bigotry of Hillary Clinton, which panders to and talks down to communities of color and sees them only as votes. That's all they care about.
You know, I've seen a rather unending litany of people talking about the tone of the speech. Let's just get into the meat of this. Let's talk about the substance. Donald Trump going some places where maybe people thought he might not go and sticking to his script of surprising audiences. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, he definitely stuck to the script because he was on teleprompter, and I think everyone's happy to see that. I don't think blacks are going to turn out for Hillary the way they turned out for President Obama, and Hillary knows that, so she's boxed in and can't critique bad black behavior. So Trump sees an opening, and I think the law and order deal appeals to his base and it appeals to independence. But he's also saying to these blacks in these urban areas, you know, come here for a second, come here. See these people over here, these Democrats that have been running these cities into the ground for the last 60 years with the open borders, no manufacturing jobs, bad teachers. They've done that to you. So maybe if he can peel enough support from the black community, maybe or even tamp it down on her end in like a Cincinnati and Orlando and a swing state, that could really help. But he's got his work cut out for him.
You are the master of opening statements.
No,
you're really good at it. And this felt like an.
It's not huge.
You're talking about me.
This felt like an opening statement. Critique it for me.
Yes, I think it did. But, you know, he's trying to get in his groove here in his cycle. He's also had some interesting changes in his campaign. They said they're layering to the team and beefing it up. But Trump also has to be Trump. I understand what he's talking to. You want someone to put words in your mouth or try and change who you are. But he sort of has those people. He has the Jesse Watters of the world locked up. You know, they're committed. They're committed. They're all in. They're all in. Now he's got to get some other votes to be able to peel off, like Jesse is talking about, to reach out to independents, to not let Hillary run away with the election with, you know, white college-educated women, some of the other people that might be on the fence or be more moderate, but care about communities, care about jobs, care about quality education, care about keeping jobs here and not exporting America. All of those things are positive themes that people care about.
Yeah, and those themes came up so heavily, Meghan, when we saw this latest round of rioting in Milwaukee. I mean, people really wanted to get back to their small businesses and those jobs that they had been able to hang on to or create.
I stayed up late watching this last night, and my first thought was, I actually thought this was actually a pretty brave move on his part. The leader of the Black Lives Matter movement has come out saying Hillary Clinton has done nothing for black voters, which I at the time was, I think, think, a semi-controversial statement. I agree with Jesse. I actually think there's a big demographic here that if we just make the attempt to reach out, it can be up for the picking. All that being said, he was speaking to a predominantly white audience. I would have preferred had he done this in front of a more diverse audience.
So that's where I want to go with you, Ebony. I mean, he gets some extra credit, if you will, in the world of reaching out because his social media footprint is enormous. So when you're talking about him tweeting about the speech and he put some outreach on his Facebook, he does get credit for that. But the audience maybe he'll do outreach in a different way, just as Megan has said.
Certainly. Last night was a necessary, important first step. It was really the first time we heard Donald Trump specifically talking to the black community. Very important. But there's a second part to the equation, right? I know he's been invited twice to speak to the National Association of Black Journalists. That's a great opportunity for Donald Trump to get this messaging, which a lot of people agree with. Hillary did it. And you're right. There are many people in the black community that have been very dissatisfied from the returns they've received from the Clinton and that administration.
Many of them live in Baltimore.
Live in Baltimore, New Orleans, many urban cities, Chicago. That's an opportunity for Donald Trump to speak specifically. I'll give you an example. He can talk about school choice. He can talk about enhanced entrepreneurship opportunities for these black communities that want to be self-sufficient and not so government dependent. These are messages that he can successfully get out there if he chooses to.
Does he reach you, the Independent?
He can. He can. I want to see this followed up from last night to that type of direct, either from Donald Trump himself or his surrogates, talking specifically about not only how bad Hillary's been for you, a lot of people agree with that indictment, but how Donald Trump, can specifically address your concerns.
Yeah, he's got to make the case for himself.
That's right.
Passionate.
All right, we'll come back to politics in just a second. I want to get to some hard news that's happening right now and unfolding. The Blue Cut Fire in San Bernardino County exploded to 30,000 acres in just a short while. And the governor of California, Jerry Brown, has declared a state of emergency because of the Blue Cut Fire. They have many burning in the state, but this is the biggest. Law enforcement and fire officials now giving an update. Low humidity, triple-digit temperatures today, 82,000 people evacuated, 30,000 acres burned. So we're watching this. We're monitoring it for you. You can see, look at on the right side of your screen. And I'm going to explain it a little bit because it looks a little grainy. That is a monster.
Yeah.
In San Bernardino County right now. Anything that can grow as fast as that has grown is to be reckoned with. I mean, they have all they can handle right now. And I know the governor, when he declared this a state of emergency, was saying that they would come out and get ahead of this in terms of the messaging for people because they need to get people out of the way of this. So respect if you're being evacuated. They are talking directly to those people. And we will watch this from across the nation, bring you the news nuggets on this as they happen. Kimberly?
Yes, and our hearts and prayers with those that are battling the blaze there in the California Department of Forestry. And meantime, after a push by Republican lawmakers, the FBI turning over to Congress heavily redacted notes of its interviews with Hillary Clinton over her use of a private email server as Secretary of State. The notes are classified as secret and are not expected to be made public. And even some lawmakers don't have the proper security clearance to read parts of the notes. But the Clinton campaign, reportedly fearing GOP leaks and spin, is calling to release much of the material to the public. Vice presidential nominee Tim Kaine echoing that sentiment.
Anything that the FBI gives to Congress, they should give to the public. Because what we've seen is this lengthy, multi-million-dollar congressional investigation that has been highly partisan, where they've wanted to leak out this or that to try to make their case against Hillary Clinton. Let the public see what the FBI decides to let Congress see.
But former House Speaker Newt Gingrich says the Democrats are bluffing. Watch this.
I think if Mrs. Clinton really wants them released, I just would challenge her to send a letter to the director of the FBI and say, you have my authority, my permission to go ahead and release them, and watch how fast she starts to backpedal.
All right, so you think this is phony?
No, their position is totally phony. Look, the more we learn as various emails break out, as we had WikiLeaks and other things, there's no question they misused the office of the Secretary of State. There's no question they were cutting deals. There's no question they were taking money from foreigners.
Harris, is there any question that they can recover from this? How bad is it going to be damaged?
I am still scratching my head at a machine like the Hillary Clinton campaign that has let something churn in the background, and now it's on fire again. Like, I don't understand that. I thought that they had told everybody that this didn't matter. I thought that they had convinced their base that they could trust her. And yet you see the polling, and it may not bubble up by name, but people say, that trustworthiness is just not there. So, look, if they can go after her in terms of she told a lie somewhere along the way for perjury, it starts to get dicey. Look, it's the middle of August now, and we're still talking about this.
Yeah, no doubt. Megan, what's your take on this? And is this something that's going to stick at a certain point, or are people just like, oh, this is the Clintons, this is what they do?
Well, I love Newt Gingrich. I think he's one of the great, brilliant conservative minds. And I 100%
Newt, did you hear that? Megan loves you.
I do. He and his wife, Callista, know I'm big fans, both of them. But all that being said, I think at this point, we can hope that they will release the transcripts and everything from the FBI. I'm such a conspiracy theorist with everything Clinton related at this point. I'm waiting for the October surprise from Julian Assange, which he still says he promises is going to happen. I think that's the only way we're really going to know.
You know what these transcripts are going to look like? They're going to be. It's going to be because we know Comey wasn't even there, so it was some deputy. They said, Mrs. Clinton, did you intend to commit a crime? And she said no. And they said, okay, love your pantsuit. I'll see you later. Have a nice weekend. There was nothing there. This interview was a joke. It was like Saturday morning.
You're
it wasn't
wearing
recorded.
A blue pantsuit.
Yes,
Exactly.
Which actually
This is a very nice suit. I'm going to church later.
You look pretty powerful. You know what it is, KG? I don't often find myself agreeing with Newt Gingrich, but I do today.
Okay.
Because I actually think he's onto something here, because this is the Clinton campaign cherry picking what's transparent and what's not.
Yeah.
You want to release these congressional notes, but where are the Wall Street speech transcripts? Where are those?
Right.
You know, why is this important? And I think that's where people that are still open to Clinton's argument become suspicious. That's why her numbers are so low here.
Well, within her own party. So I have a question for you, Kimberly. It's my understanding that it is pretty standard that you would not have her under oath for the FBI talk. It's also my understanding that they were just taking notes, that this isn't actually a transcript the way that you and I would think of it, where we'd have a recording device.
Yeah.
So what are we getting exactly? Like, what are we waiting for?
Not much. I mean, they wouldn't be saying to release it if they thought anything was bad in there. I mean, this is just, it's just so charming, isn't it? I mean, it's so charming. I want to go there and have tea and sit down, and it's just incredibly pleasant. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not what you do when you're trying to get to the truth of the matter here and find out if somebody committed a crime. This was just a, put lipstick on a pig. That's what it was, and it's just done because they knew that they had something here. Let's be honest, okay? You heard Comey go through and lay it all out and make the case, and you're like, whoa, this is unbelievable. This is the biggest breaking news day ever. And then you're like, oh, no, it's not, psych.
He didn't
because
have
at
the
the end he
evidence.
said, okay, listen, we don't have it, and we wouldn't recommend a prosecution. And he didn't get anything from her, and that's no surprise because I think the fix was in.
When you look at what was done on the front end and the kind of money that was spent to set up this server situation with the experts who were working on it, should we be surprised that there wouldn't be evidence or a trace? I mean, it seems like just and I'm no expert IT-wise, but if you spend that kind of money, thanks, I can crack a password code, especially
Well, they
when it's
asked
my
her,
own
how
that I've
many
forgotten.
servers did you use? And she said one, and it turns out she used multiple servers. So someone has the servers. They're probably down in a river.
Yeah, WikiLeaks is going to get, I'm telling you, before this election's over, we will have more information. And if the FBI doesn't want to do it, there's some rogue agents out there in the world that are going to
does that
Don't
hurt?
encourage
There you go,
our enemies
Megan
to
McCain.
do it. That's how Trump got in trouble.
I'm not encouraging them, but I also think, like, you said, I'm far from being a lawyer, but any other person, if your last name wasn't Clinton, you'd be in jail right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that was charming, right? Donald Trump's campaign announcing some changes, big additions to the staff. We mentioned this earlier, and the rollout of his first wave of TV ads. Amid these more traditional moves, Mr. Trump himself says, no way to changing. I am what I am. How will it all play out? We've got all the answers. Plus, Hillary Clinton sounding more like Bernie Sanders after promising to pay for her economic agenda by going after the super rich. So what to make of her comments, and is this pandering to progressives? And right after the show, Harris. Catch more from the couch. You can join our live chat by clicking the Overtime tab at foxnews.com/outnumbered. You can also find Overtime Live on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/outnumbered.
The Trump campaign confirming it will finally be rolling out its first wave of general election TV ads. Mr. Trump historically relying largely on free airtime in the form of interviews and campaign coverage. The new ads will air in the key battleground states of Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and North Carolina starting Friday. Meantime, Trump's campaign also announcing some changes at the top, promoting veteran Republican pollster Kellyanne Conway to campaign manager and appointing Stephen Bannon, the executive chairman of conservative media outlet Breitbart News, to campaign CEO. Trump's campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, will retain his title. All of this comes as Trump speaks about his recent stumbles on the campaign trail, telling Wisconsin's WKB-TV that he doesn't want to change. Quote, "I am who I am. It's me. I don't want to change. Everyone talks about, oh, well, you're going to pivot. I don't want to pivot. I mean, you have to be you. If you start pivoting, you're not being honest with people." It's a lot to take in. Jesse, first and foremost, what do you think of the campaign changes?
I think they really weaponized this campaign. I don't see it as a shakeup. It's more of an enhancement. I know both of these people. Kellyanne's extremely disciplined and articulate, very intelligent. Bannon's a killer. He has his finger on the pulse. So I think you're going to see soon the mantra of you're going to see the mantra of there's a comeback. I think you're going to see the narrative of the comeback coming out pretty soon. I think he's going to hit Hillary hard. I think the new ads are going to be slick. They may be even a little dirty, but they're going to rally the base, and there's going to be some positive stuff too. But I think he's going to really start running as an independent against a rigged system. Everyone's a liar, and we want to make this country rich and safe again.
It sounds like my summer workout program.
Yeah,
exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, about how the campaign will run like a campaign, and he still will be able to be who he is,
right.
Which is really where he needed to be. Because if he were the person who were going to make this huge pivot, then people who support him would scratch their heads and say, well, who have we been supporting since June of 2015?
Right.
So this gives them an opportunity to spend some money, which I think they needed to do.
Mexico is still going to pay for the wall. We're not changing that.
I meant on ads, Jesse.
Jesse's so on message. Oh my God. Don't worry, Jesse. Namaste. The wall will come. Okay. Yeah, I want to just piggyback on those comments too, because I think when you have with Trump, the reason why he resonated so well with people, because he was speaking to people on their level, like they understand what he's talking about. They feel that he cares. He's not someone that's manufactured out of D.C. to come and then be some kind of Manchurian candidate. He wants to be true to his core, authenticity. People can smell a fake. Right. So he can't sit there and say, I'm not, I'm against how the insiders, the people who are doing the dirty deals, the crooked people, and then come forward and try and like do some kind of metamorphosis and become someone that he's not. He's got to be comfortable when he's up there. He's got to say what he thinks and what he feels. So with that in mind, I think the teleprompter with a little bit of like ad lib and Trump kind of free associating after is, I think it does work. I think it does work. But now, yes, spend some money, get out the biscotti, let's get some cash going and hit some of those swing states, because you got to be realistic. If you do want to make America great again, you got to win.
You got to win, and I think all four of those states that he's spending these ad buys in, right now he's behind Hillary Clinton, so it's important. Some of those states pretty badly, almost double digits, so it's good. I think don't overreact, though, with the ad buy. Trump's best commercial is still Donald Trump's mouth. You know what I'm saying? And his ability, he's right on this. His free interviews and ad space with media, that's his best friend, and I think as long as he has a more disciplined message, he's got Kellyanne out there now being kind of a lieutenant around that message.
She's amazing.
She's fantastic, and even before this promotion, she's been rock solid for him. Right. So if she can do that, I totally agree with your point, Harris. He's got people in place to do that part. He gets to still be him. That's the best commercial he's got going.
And he has, Megan, different people in place for him than he had. Paul Ryan saying that he's kind of still on the fence and I endorse you, but I don't like this. I mean, that's not what his role was. And now he even gets to fall back even further.
Paul Ryan?
People in the establishment really now can take, because I had said if they're not going to be behind this candidate, why are they even bothering to say they endorse him? Now they can kind of step back. Sure, go work on all that down ballot stuff if you think you need to. But now he's got a core group of people that are more like family.
Trump is doubling down on his strategy. And again, his core supporters are going to love this. If you care about campaign operatives, it's highly unorthodox to change these kind of horses midstream, 82 days out, not to get too political sciencey. My concern right now is that he has more advisors than field campaign operatives. And traditionally, Field
Yeah.
campaign operatives are still important, so I would personally like to see these people hiring more ground staff to go out and battleground
Yeah,
states.
Cruz was good
at
at
the
that.
moment.
Yeah.
Cruz is excellent at that, and Kellyanne worked for Ted Cruz, so
She knows.
I certainly hope that's what they plan on doing going forward.
Great for women, too, just real quick. I think it's so important when you see Kellyanne Conway getting out there. She's slaying dragons left and right. She's on message. I mean, you cannot shake her. And she seems very passionate, devoted to what she's doing. Hopefully that, if I'm Trump, I'm thinking this is going to help show I'm supporting women, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
get Ivanka out there again.
Slaying
Yeah.
dragons. That's what they do in,
All right,
in
but
Jesse's
you
world.
guys, you have to tune into Hannity tonight.
Okay.
Because Sean hosts
Cool,
an
all right.
exclusive town hall with Donald Trump. They cover a range of topics, including terrorism and homeland security. Here's a preview with Mr. Trump on the possibility of another attack on our homeland.
We can be nice about it. We can say it's never going to happen again. There'll be more. And what we're doing by allowing thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people in here that we just don't know anything about, it's going to happen again because there's something wrong. And until we figure it out, we have to stop it.
On the side.
And you can watch the entire event on Hannity. That's tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern right here on
All right, tell them what you were
FNC.
saying. They're going to wonder.
I thought he got a haircut. I thought the hair looked a little slick on the sides.
You
I'm
liked
just
it.
noticing it.
A little more
it's
kept.
cleaner.
It's
He
already
likes
getting
it.
more disciplined.
All right.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, Hillary Clinton channeling her inner Bernie Sanders, talking about her spending plan, in which Americans say she will foot the bill for it. Plus more GOP establishment types turning on Donald Trump, and Trump saying, bring it on. More from the couch next.
I wear their opposition as a badge of honor. Because it means I'm fighting for real change.
Hillary Clinton is promising to pay for her White House agenda by going after the wealthy. The Democratic nominee was speaking at a voter registration event yesterday in Philadelphia, where she vowed to increase funding for more infrastructure jobs, affordable housing, and education. This as Hillary Clinton has been under pressure to push a more progressive agenda after socialist Bernie Sanders got so much support in the primaries. So here she is saying how she'll pay for the plan.
So I know what we can do together. But how are we going to pay for it? Well, I'll tell you how we're going to pay for it. We're going where the money is. We're going after the super wealthy. We're going after the corporations. We're going after Wall Street so they pay their fair share.
All right, so the audio guy in the booth needed to turn the volume down on the handheld because she had it close to her mouth, obviously.
All the way to off.
So
They should just Trump should run an ad just that. Just 30 seconds of that.
I was just saying how you could clear up the overmodulation. I was just trying to be helpful.
Very positive.
So the question is, can she really sell spending other people's money?
No.
Does that
course
work?
not.
When she makes as much as she does?
She can't. Not only that, Harris. See, this is where Bernie was so effective against her in that primary. Although he came up short in the end, he did such a great job of painting her with that broad stroke of being in bed with Wall Street.
Yeah.
And people remember that, Harris. So this pivot, it's just like good message, wrong messenger,
Right.
over and over and over again.
Jesse?
It shows how much problem she has with her base. I mean, this is a play for Bernie supporters. Obviously, they haven't come home yet. It's desperate. Obama was smooth, though, when he talked about raising taxes on the rich. He made it about fairness and helping people out. Hillary's angry. She's like, I'm going to go after where the money is. It just sounds mean and
demonizing
not,
success.
It doesn't sound, it's not crafty enough. And you know what? Obama already raised taxes on the rich, and middle-class wages went down. So it doesn't even add up.
Yeah, well, you know, you have that sticky wicket of when people are being overtaxed, sometimes they don't create as many jobs.
Sticky wicket.
It can,
That's
it can
such
get
a
a
good
little
one, right?
confusing there. So Megan, if she's talking about this, the one thing that's going through my mind is, you know, go after the rich. If you're at, like, I don't know, Goldman Sachs or someplace where she may have spoken for over $250,000, I'm wondering if you're not thinking, well, should we talk about what she talked about here? Because that's not what she told us.
Making upwards of $6 million off of the speeches that she made.
I mean, we don't know what she said.
Well, okay, this is what I'll say about this, is she's going full-blown socialist, which was the question we had. How socialist will she go? How much
Never
will she
go
be
full-blown
influenced?
socialist.
She is. How influenced will she be by Bernie Sanders? It's no longer the Democratic Party. It's the Socialist Party. And this is a very dangerous message. As you said, it's demonizing success. I don't know who this plays to other than Bernie Sanders supporters. And I know a lot of Democrats who are like, I am not a socialist. I'm a Democrat. I'm a traditional Democrat. I'm fine with this. I'm not fine with demonizing success, et cetera, et cetera.
I never met one of those Democrats.
I know too. I actually know two who absolutely hate Bernie Sanders and thought that it was nothing short of a demagoguery. His policies, excuse me, his policies. So I think this is, I don't know who it's playing to other than his base. And quite frankly, the optics of this, like you said, who are her advanced team? Stop screaming like that into the microphone. It's just the optics of it are horrible.
You know, when you talk about the economy and people legitimately hurting, I don't know that this soothes the pain. I mean, she is not her husband who had the ability, as you pointed out, to feel people's pain. This doesn't show empathy. This just shows her angry at another group of people.
No, and it's frightening. It's actually terrifying to other people that are trying to make up a mind, decide are they going to trust a woman who's untrustworthy, a person who doesn't have credibility, a person who compromised national security. Oh, and now somebody who's pivoted so far to the left to try and cater to the Bernie Sanders supporters and Elizabeth Warren and all of that. This is a big problem more globally, if you get some elevation on this, for the Democratic Party, because they are now really pushing forward towards socialism, and that's going to leave a lot of people out that don't, like Megan said, agree with it. And this, I think, is going to terrify people like independents. Like, what are you doing being so poking the cage and being so divisive in class warfare?
40% of the self-identified electorate are independent.
Right. Yeah, we're the fastest voting group, Harris, and yet somehow many of us struggle to find a place where we can find comfort in messaging, because so extreme now are these parties. It's so far left and it's so far right that it's hard to find a middle ground.
Yeah, Trump's got to take the independents to the prom. He's got to court them, don't you think? Yeah.
The GOP establishment is again turning on Donald Trump. More than 120 former and current Republican officials, including 2 sitting members of Congress, signing a letter urging the RNC to cut off funds to the party's nominee. But Trump firing back during a rally in Wisconsin last night, dismissing those officials as part of a rigged system and telling the crowd that he's fighting for real change.
It's time for rule by the people, not rule for the special interests. I wear their opposition as a badge of honor, because it means I'm fighting for real change.
Okay, this badge of honor line, I think that resonated with a lot of people. Is this just the best help he's gotten all week from the RNC, Jesse?
Yeah, but he still needs these people. He definitely needs these people. It may work in a general, but I mean, just in terms of fundraising and getting out the vote in the grassroots, he needs these people. I am bored of the Never Trump people. I don't want to criticize them because I think many of them are principled, but I just don't see how having Hillary in the White House is better than having Trump. I just don't get it.
I have to say this. I have a good friend of mine in the RNC leadership, and he was given this letter to sign about a week and a half ago. He got it and was like, are you people crazy? Because although he's not enthusiastic about Trump's candidacy, he feels like that sends the wrong message for the party. So, Harris, do you think there's a legitimate claim from some in the RNC who are very concerned about these down ballot races and feel like this is the time to pull away, or do they need to lean into their candidate?
I would like to see some adult conflict resolution on this. That's really what I would like to see. Like, is the only
I love it. No, it's so good.
A little group therapy.
Is the only way
public fighting.
Is the only way that you solve your problems is by burning down your house? Because where are you going to live?
I think what they're referencing, though, is in 1996 when it was clear that Bob Dole was going to lose, the RNC focused so much of its money on down ballot. It's a fascinating election, and it has a lot of historical reference here. That being said, there are 2 parties right now. There's the Trump party and the Republicans in exile. And I would love nothing more than for the 2 to be branded and brought together even more. I don't think this letter is particularly helpful because, as you said, it just looks like neither side is communicating with one another.
Well,
and I will say,
it is late.
It's 82 days left. I will say also, Donald Trump came out supporting Paul Ryan, came out, endorsed Kelly Ayotte, which to me was the olive branch.
And your father.
And my father, and for a lot of people. So it's not as if he isn't trying as well and listening to some people in the RNC.
Yeah, my question is, are they listening to him? Did they listen to that speech last night? And what do they hear in that speech that they are not okay with, but okay with the person across the party's aisle, Hillary Clinton? I mean, that's a gut check that they'll have to do.
But it sounds like nothing they say that he says or does is going to satisfy them, to be quite honest.
Maybe that's
it seems,
true.
I feel like the rhetoric is actually amped up a little bit, like they're actually distancing even more because they think, oh, well, maybe if he's not going to win, we don't want to be associated. But, you know, I just don't think it bodes well for the party. I think it looks
if Donald
really
Trump loses
bad.
this race, how accountable are these 120 Republicans going to be?
So, and that brings me to my last question on this for today. Do they have political futures that they want to hang on to?
This
Like,
also
who do they
is-
think is going to vote
But it's
for them?
also the will of the people. I mean, you know, he wasn't my first candidate. He wasn't my sixth choices candidate. But this is what the American
But
public
he was your
chose.
seventh.
That's all that matters.
So they don't have to vote for him.
But I'm just saying, you have to respect democracy in action at a certain point as well, and that the party is changing in different ways, and what that means going forward, as you said, for independents, or maybe a constitutionalist party. I've actually turned a page where I think this is exciting because maybe this will be a Trump party and another.
It hasn't changed your vote for him, though.
What? You ask me this every time I'm on the couch.
I know, because I like
Harris. Every time I'm on the couch, you ask me who I'm voting for.
You felt better after he did endorse your
I did,
father and Ryan
honestly,
and
Kelly Ayotte, for me personally, I have said this many times before, women in politics is my life goal, trying to get young women involved.
Get involved.
Kelly Ayotte, keeping her in office, one of 6 women in the Senate. On a personal level, just as a woman, it's important to me. So I did
She's
see
in
that
a
as an
tough
olive
race.
for
So
you.
that's why I asked her.
So how do
And
you
let's keep your
debate
dad,
Donald
too, by the
Trump?
way. Okay?
Thank you,
Well, the
Katie.
Clinton camp thinks that Hillary has to be prepared for absolutely anything, including down and dirty politics. How they plan to prep her, and what folks they're eyeing to play the role of Mr. Trump up next. Stay with us.
Hillary Clinton is preparing to go head-to-head with Donald Trump in the presidential debates. But in order to be fully prepared, the Democratic hopefuls campaign is looking for a sparring partner who can realistically play the role of Donald Trump. That person will have the job of confronting Clinton on some tough topics, like the email scandal, allegations of a pay-to-play State Department, her Wall Street speeches, and yes, the very personal scandals involving Monica Lewinsky, Jennifer Flowers, and perhaps others. So with the first debate a little more than a month away, who's up for the job? Billionaire Mark Cuban says he would be happy to, but he hasn't been asked. Other reported potential Trump stand-ins include Senator Al Franken and political advisor James Carville, longtime Clinton allies. All right, we were just discussing this, so let's take it around the couch. You go, who do you think is going to best personify Donald Trump and get her battle ready?
I think Bill O'Reilly would play the perfect. And if you paid him enough, he would definitely do it.
I love it. I come on to do some O'Reilly interviews.
No, that's right. No, I think if Hillary is up there for 8 hours, 3 debates combined, people will see how unlikable and annoying her voice is. And I just don't think they're going to stomach that. And it's going to be Gaff City. She could short circuit any time. And the expectation game for her, lifelong politician, everyone thinks she's going to smoke Trump. So if she doesn't outright smoke him, it's a
Does everybody
loss.
think that, though? I mean, I don't think she's necessarily going to smoke him. I think you could easily get her off her game, bringing up these type of scandals, which is why this is very smart.
She'll be well prepared.
I mean, she will be well prepared, but I don't know how prepared you can be if you're uncomfortable in your own skin and uncomfortable off the cuff.
That's a good point.
All of that being said, I love the ritual and tradition of debate prep and things like this. It's one of my fondest memories of being on the campaign trail with my father, Senate, and running for president. They isolate their candidates. It's like sparring for the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. I'm sure Donald Trump is doing the same thing. I'm actually more interested. He's choosing to play Hillary in his debate prep.
That's actually very fascinating.
interesting.
I love this debate stuff too, Meg. And, you know, I actually think we're looking past the best person to play Donald Trump in this. I think it's Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden will actually
that's
be
interesting.
very good at this. I think he'll go there. He'll be nasty. I think he personally just doesn't like Hillary Clinton very much. And I think, seriously, I really think that he would do very, very well in that
Did you see the
antagonistic
hug?
role. It was so awkward, Harris. Yeah, it was the hug of, like,
Oh.
awkward city. No, I think he would be unafraid to go there and embarrass her and make her blush. And she's got to be totally prepared for that, because that's how do you prepare for the unexpected?
Right. She better take a B12 shot because
I thought the hug was sincere. I must live in Pollyannaville.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just like Joe
did matter. It
Biden
was
next to
awkward.
her doing all that
So-
campaigning. He's so likable. It's just, oh my goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
it reminds Democrats of what they could have had. I mean,
Yeah,
it just
that's
wasn't
what
his
it is.
time
People are
yet.
still
I think he
crying about
really
that.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think he really wanted to do the campaign himself. I mean, remember when he pulled out? We were all like, "Wait, it happened here on Outnumbered." His speech. I'm leaving the campaign trail, but I'm like, "Are you leaving or are you staying?" So Juanita Broderick this week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Hillary Clinton can't take a comment from the crowd about Juanita Broderick, and now we're getting some reports of the website language having to be changed about women and sexual harassment and assault, if she can't take that kind of heat, then I don't know who they should put. Maybe they should put a woman up
Wait,
there.
but do you actually think Donald Trump would mention the name of the floozies that Bill Clinton philandered around with to her face on national television?
Yes.
I
You really do.
I do.
Well, first
do
of all,
too.
I don't know that it's fair to label these women because we don't know them, unless you know something I don't know.
Well, I mean, some of them weren't, you know, Juanita. Some of them were just, you know, these girls around.
My point is,
out.
I don't think he has to mention them by name. He has to mention what's just happened.
story.
She was asked about
But-
this woman in her comments and whether or not women should be believed when they come forth with these. And there was a cleanup mop job that had to be done
There
behind
was
it.
an indictment of
that's
her
the angle.
consistency on
No,
it.
but can I say that's the angle, though? When she ran in New York for Senate against Rick Lazio, and he came up to her physically on the stage and he started bringing this up, it really backfired. So you have to play this the right way. You can't blame her for Bill's indiscretions. What you can do is blame her for her culpability and involvement for shaming these women
prepare her
and
for
potentially
it?
losing. Pardon me?
And the debates, does the
Yes,
debate
I mean they
partner
should
prepare-
they should wonder, but whoever is prepping Donald Trump, this is a fine line to walk, and I wouldn't come out and start shaming her because her husband cheated on her for a long time. I would come out and say, what's your role in ruining these women's
Talk about
lives?
her
Is that
hypocrisy.
feminism?
Yes, talk about her hypocrisy
war on
around
women.
when women should be believed because during the
That was the
Cosby
core
scandal.
issue.
Yeah, absolutely, and when they shouldn't.
She said
Call
they
her
should
out
be
on that.
believed until evidence shows that they shouldn't be believed.
But that's not what she used to say.
She's only she is only effective when she's a victim. It's the only time she's likable.
So getting-
It's the only time she wins, and he cannot make her a victim.
Getting back to Hillary,
Yes.
who should her sparring partner be?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Carville has that kind of like rogue, can kind of go renegade on her, etc. She's got to be ready to go because
Prep her for this.
Yeah, I mean Hillary Clinton might as well be a spokesperson for Samsonite. She got so much baggage, but I'm confident. I'm confident that Kellyanne Conway will properly advise Trump as to how to handle some of these delicate issues involving the women that have alleged, you know, abuse, etc., harassment by Clinton. I think that's an important issue that he can play if he threads the needle properly on it. But anyway, lots to discuss, and obviously those debates are going to be incredible.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, the PC police are at it again, courtesy of your...
Troubles with the Affordable Care Act. And will they actually take action? It's all coming up, happening now.
I'll be
Harris.
glued. Thank you.
Thank you.
The University of New Mexico ordering staffers to undergo sensitivity training, according to a report from Campus Reform. Among the lessons in the class, calling someone psycho or crazy for acting unusual is described as offensive to those dealing with mental health issues. Don't announce someone's transgender identity without their permission, or ask them about their real name or surgical status. Identifying people based on gender-neutral features like the person in blue rather than the woman in blue,
Said the man wearing the blue suit.
which avoids stigmatization, and support gender-neutral restrooms and affirm that individuals may use whichever bathroom aligns with their gender identity. That was the most confusing thing I've ever heard.
So can you explain it all?
No, I can't. Apparently, I can't call you crazy, even if you're acting crazy.
Right.
Because it used to be it's offensive to a woman to call them crazy.
Really?
Now it's offensive to people that are actually crazy.
There's plenty of crazy guys out there.
Yes, there are. You're looking at one.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like, is this one of those things you just can't say anything because you don't want to offend anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to run everything through a filter or something, and like I don't know, it's really exhausting.
And I can't even say you're a woman in a white dress. I have to say you're a person in a white dress.
Okay.
You're not a woman anymore. You are a person, Kimberly.
Greg
You know,
Gumbel would say I'm a robot in a white dress. He loves the
I think
robots.
my problem with it is this, because I actually don't mind sensitivity trainings. I think, you know, classes and diversity and whatever, I think that's good. I think my problem is this just goes too far, right? Because when you can't ask questions around someone's transgendered identity and things, I think that's actually problematic for the trans community. Because the truth is a lot of people are not familiar with that community and they don't know. And when you silence people's abilities to ask what they don't know, how is that helpful?
So if someone looks
Yeah.
transgender, I can't say, like, are you a man or a
According
woman?
to that, I guess, and I think that's bad.
More than that, though, I mean, again, it hasn't been, it's been almost 10 years since I was in college, but you can say anything nasty you want about Republicans and conservatives and NRA members like me. You can do that all day long, but you want to say you can't say you're a woman in a white dress in a classroom and automatically you're going to get suspended. This is why America's in trouble, and this is why sometimes I'm embarrassed to be a millennial.
Wow. I would be too. What do you
I
think?
think
Eric?
this drives a lot of the mean-spiritedness online because I think that we have lost the ability to talk to each other one-on-one.
Yeah.
And we're so afraid that we're going to offend somebody and that it might affect our job or our standing in the community that we just keep our mouths shut, you know? And, well, I say we as a society. For those of us who do speak up, it seems like we're the outliers now. You know, but I don't know how you're going to have, again, adult conflict resolution, which is my theme right now as I raise my kids. How are you going to live in a world filled with people who are not always going to agree with you, who sometimes will be difficult, who will hurt your feelings? How are you going to get along if you can't get along?
It's very suppressive.
Can't we all just get along?
And the world
Can't we all just talk and say what we mean?
I think,
okay with
Evan,
that.
you hit it on the head right there when you said, you know, that you have to be able to ask questions to learn and grow and foster discussion and openness. To me, this just feels very suppressive. It feels like you're already assuming some kind of, you know, stigmatization, which is not beneficial to anybody.
Absolutely.
Why not be embracing? Why not be embracing? Why not open? Let people be expressive. It's really contrary even to the First Amendment and to
That is right, and I will be now called the man in the blue suit. We will be right back.